Alright, a very good morning, Twitch fans and YouTube fans. It's Captain Abs here with you once again for another episode of Pilot's Life with Simbit World. As you can see, we've got the Encore Dash 8 Q400 loaded up, and as you can see up there, we are at the Kelowna International Airport here in British Columbia. Beautiful BC, beautiful airport. This rendition in particular done by SimAddons. They've done some great Canadian scenery. It looks really good. It's Canada is an underrepresented market except for the absolutely huge major airports, but most of the rest of Canada is very underrepresented in the flight sim world, so it's nice to see someone like SimAddons give Canada a little bit of love. So do support them if you're interested in the Canadian scenery. Their scenery packs are great. They come with a whole variety of airports. Kelowna is a great airport. It's nestled in a little mountain valley, and makes for a fantastic approach, fantastic departure, awesome visuals. Unfortunately, it's a little bit dark right now still. It's still pre-dawn out in Kelowna, but maybe by the time we get going here, it'll be somewhat sunny anyways. So today we've got yet another mission in my Simbit World career here, and the mission today is to fly from Kelowna to Edmonton. It's a distance of 295 miles, and got some decent scenery on both ends. As you can see, it takes off from Kelowna in the middle of the Rocky Mountains, flies right over the mountains, and then lands over on the out on the prairies in Edmonton. So it should be a pretty fun little adventure here. And if all goes well, we may even try to do a second leg today. We'll see how leg 1 goes. Leg 1, Kelowna to Edmonton. Leg 2 will be Edmonton back down to Calgary. So we'll do Kelowna to Edmonton. We'll see how the time is doing. If we have time, we'll shoot off the quick Edmonton to Calgary leg and get 2 legs done in one video here. Don't know if it's going to work. We're going to try it anyways. So if we're going to get it to work, we probably should get going here quicker rather than later. So let's hop in the flight deck. As you guys can see here on the top of the window here, I again have FS2Crew running. I've enjoyed it. I'm still getting the hang of it. I'm getting better with practice. It is a system like any other that requires practice to get good at it. And I'm getting there. I'm definitely getting there. I'm not perfect by any means, but I'm getting more comfortable with FS2Crew as a whole. So I still have my script just in case I need it. But overall, I'm getting more comfortable with FS2Crew. So today we started up... I tried to reload my scenario from when we arrived in Kelowna, and it didn't work. Something corrupted with it, so I've just started us with the aircraft partly powered up, but obviously no interior lights on here, so let's get some lights on so we can actually see what we're doing here as we start boarding. And we'll go ahead and just make sure we've got things like the emergency lights are armed. Yep. Alright, so we'll go ahead and just check out the config here too. I find the config here, I find it a little bit finicky. It seems to be pretty stable now. The first couple times I used it, it seemed like the audio device kept shifting back and forth on me. Alright, that all seems to be good, so we're going to go ahead and start a pre-flight offense.
Captain, how are you today?
Good, thank you. Or I am good. He doesn't respond anyways. You're not very polite, are you? Alright, so we got 30 minutes to get airborne in the FS2Crew system, so let's get this show on the road. As always, we'll do a quick little flight deck flow, make sure that everything's in the right position. One thing I did find about the FS2Crew as I started using it, they have a very long script to go through, which is basically a complete set of SOPs. It is not a bad set of SOPs. But what I found is that I can also use my own SOPs, and they generally work very well with FS2Crew. They don't... generally, everything I'm used to doing is pretty compatible with FS2Crew already, so I found that I don't actually have to change too much. I'm going to turn off the fasten belt sign because I'm not sure that we're fueled, and actually I just noticed the FMSs are not on, and that's not going to be very good if we don't have those on. Don't know why they're not on. There we go. That one's on, and here comes that one. Okay. It was odd. I don't know why they weren't on, but anyways, okay. So let's check our fuel load here. We got a full tank of fuel. We don't need a full tank of fuel. I'm not sure if we can take a full tank of fuel with the load we've got going on. Alright, so all that stuff looks good. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bring up the Majestic control panel really quick here. And there's my boarding that I decided to start this cockpit state in because it wasn't quite right for me. Let's skip right to the weight and balance now. And I believe that this is all preloaded from last time, but actually... let's go to our sim brief flight plan really quick here. And actually, I just realized something too, that we have not actually gotten ready to fly on the VATSIM network yet. So let me just really quickly, I'm just gonna
I'm out for the walk around.
Thank you. Alright, just going to really quickly get logged into the VATSIM network because I'd love to fly everything on the VATSIM network. Even if there's no ATC, it encourages the ATC to show up eventually. There we go. Alright. So now everything's filed. The reason why I've sort of talked about filing it before is actually, for those of you that may or may not have seen, I did try to do this yesterday. I got interrupted by a personal situation, nothing to do with the sim or anything. Something just came up just after the stream started, so I had to just terminate the stream after about 20 minutes. So we're trying it again for the second time today. Hopefully today it goes a little bit better. So I've restarted, or I've reloaded the flight plan into SimBrief because, of course, the winds today will be different than yesterday. And we're also going to check the passenger load. So we're looking at 71 people, so we're going to take a couple people out. We'll kick one person out of there and 2 people out of there, and that gives us 71 people. Fuel load today, I don't think we need probably about the same as we did yesterday. So with a 500-pound extra fuel, we need 75, 77, we'll say, as the takeoff fuel. Just give it just a little tiny round up there. Never hurts to round up a little bit when you fuel. The only time you have too much fuel is when you're on fire or you're overweight for landing. Otherwise, you can it never hurts to have a little splash of extra gas in there. So that's what we've done. We'll send that off to the flight sim. And there we go. Now the airplane is loaded properly. Okay, in a little while, FS2Crew is going to call us and ask us if we want to board. So I'm not going to hold off on making GSX too much until we get to that point. I might request catering service. And that's all I'm going to request for now. Okay. Moving right along here. Alright, so what we'll do is we've done the overhead panel. We'll hop into the FMS. I'm going to move this down where you guys can see it. Accept. And accept. And for those of you that are very keen observers, you'll notice that my database is actually expired yesterday. Yesterday or today? The database actually expired, yeah, yesterday. So I didn't upgrade it yet. We're going to go with an expired database. In order to update it now, I'd have to restart the airplane. And I just don't want to do that. So I'm sure that the database that I have is good enough. Chances are very little has changed at this point. And I will do the update once the stream is done to make sure it's ready for the next time I go flying. Alright, in the meantime, so we'll hit the flight plan page here. Today we're doing Kelowna, CYLW-CYEG, Edmonton, CYEG. It's a pretty easy flight plan. There's only a couple of fixes on it here. First of all, we'll do flight plan menu, depart, and let's do a quick little weather check here on the VATSIM network. Light winds out of the west, 260 at 3, slightly favoring 34. That works anyways because that's kind of the direction of our flight plan. So we'll do the Kelowna 8 departure off of runway 34. And after our vector, we got a no link in there. We're going to go to a place called Ramra, a fix called Ramra. Oops. There we go, Ramra. And then we're going to do an airway, so list airway. And there's only 2 here. Q949 is the airway, and we're going as far as Esky, number 1. And then we can do the arrival. Menu, arrive. Today estimated to arrive on runway 20, number 3. We're doing the Esky 1, Esky 2 here, sorry. GSX wants me to open exit 4. Give me 1 second, GSX. Runway 20 transition. We'll plan on an RNAV Zulu to runway 20. I don't know the transition, I'm just picking the first one. We will analyze it once we're airborne. Alright, in the meantime, let's do...
Hi guys, do you mind if we start boarding now?
Thank you. Yes?
Thanks, I'll be back with the load sheet later.
That got the response I wanted. Alright, so let's open up door number 3 here, exits. The service door. That'll let the catering come in, and then we'll go ahead and call GSX to request boarding in conjunction with FS2Crew. And tell GSX we have 71 people to offload. Remember to operate the jetway. The jetway has been operated, guys. Thank you, though. Thank you for that. Okay. Where was I? Okay, so we had the flight plan in there. Yes, we had that all done. So now we just need the fuel. And again, take out that Simbury flight plan. Alternate fuel. 1564 to go to our alternate of Calgary, should we require it. And the 45-minute reserve today, it works out to 1342 according to the weight we're going to be at. Not going to plan on any extra, so it's just going to tell me what's the minimum, the absolute minimum I need to go to Calgary, and that's it. Anything that I get to above and beyond that is fine. Fuel on board. Pull this up. It should be about 77. I think that's 77. If in doubt, you can always check on the fuel page. Fuel page will tell you the total added up. 7705, in fact. So there we go. And then our ZFW today, we're going to pull it off of our Majestic control panel here. ZFW is 55412. 55412. Pretty full bus going to Edmonton today. Pretty close to gross weight. That's great when you're climbing out in the mountains. But we'll make it. I hope.
Morning. Morning.
It shouldn't be a problem for a Q400. It is a bit of a tight valley, and certainly for aircraft that do not have great performance. Let me see here. What are we in? We're in... I think we're at Pacific time here in Kelowna, but I'm pretty sure that Edmonton, which is our destination, which is what you want to set for your ETA time zone, is at -7 in the central time zone still. I'm fairly certain. Or in the mountain time zone, sorry. Alright, so that's, the FMS is basically done. And so we can just go over here, pull up the second one, and we don't have to pull it up, we can just hit the crossfill button. We just need to make sure that we crossfill the flight plan. And the fuel into the second FMS. There we go. Alright, now we can start doing things here. So, the altimeter in Kelowna today is 3025. We're going to need some speeds. Fortunately, I have my speed card right in front of me here. And what did we say here for takeoff weight? Go back to the fuel page again. Page 1, 63,000. By the time we taxi out of the runway, it'll be a 63,000 pound takeoff. It's a long runway in Kelowna, but you know what? For once, we're going to do the flap 15 takeoff. Get off the ground a little quicker here. So flap 15, 63,000. 21, 21, 21. $31 and $55. There we go. One thing I noticed we don't have lighting on, so come on, there you go. Get some lighting on those there, that's much easier to see. Now we do need to set our MDA here, and I need my Navigraph charts here now. So give me 1 second while I pull them up.
I'm back from the walk around. Everything looks good.
Thank you. I say thanks to you a lot, don't I? Waiting for your... I should close exit 4. So let's go over here and pull it up really quickly. Exits 4 can close and the catering truck will leave. There's just a catering van here. It's a pretty short airplane anyways. Okay. Kelowna, you'd think I would remember it because you think I've been to it, but no. I was here yesterday and I've already forgotten everything I learned yesterday. Alright, field elevation in Kelowna. 1420. So we're going to round up to 1500 and we're going to go 2600 for our MDA. So this is our flap retraction altitude. We always set it in the airplane for reference so we can see it. So when we reach it, we get a nice visual cue on the altimeter as we go by. FS2Crew especially relies on this. FS2Crew monitors your MDA, and some of the things it tries to do are based on the MDA. So it is imperative, if you're running FS2Crew, set the MDA for your flap retraction altitude, which is generally going to be 1,000 feet above your field elevation. Alright, looking at my FS2Crew charts here again. Kelowna 8 departure. I'm just going to find the top altitude. 9,000. Okay. There you go, 9,000. We got the nav source where we need it. Spam phone calls all day long. It's enough to make a person just turn their ringer off altogether. You constantly get spam phone calls in this day and age. Where was I? Okay, I'm sorry. I just lost my train of thought there for a second. Okay, he's doing his things. I had to get the go around button. That's what I was doing. Alright, there it is. Swing level, alt cell. Then we hit heading, alt cell. Make sure the yaw damper's on. The heading for 3-4. It's 339. There we go, that's properly set now. And I think that's all good.
TCAS system test okay.
And I might need to actually do it this way with the left turn because we're going to be making a left turn onto the runway, but now it's snapped back, so fine. You know what? You can stay there for now. I'll resync the heading bug when we get on the runway. Alright, other than that, everything else is looking good here. Those are in, those are all out, no lights are on. Do the CVR test if you want. Actually, I don't think this one actually even has it. Nope, you can't even click the button. You just hold the button in for like 5 seconds, and after 5 seconds, that green status light should come on. Should probably do the control check here just to make sure that I have everything. Yep. It should be a disc, give or take. Both look good, and that also moves. Okay. Important to check that the controls are all set up properly, and of course we got to get the radio tuned to good old-fashioned Unicom because there's not many controllers come on in the morning. It's like everyone has lives and go to work or something. And there's transponder code of 2000 for us. Okay, and I think we're good. Let me just pull out my FS2Crew charts, checklists, everything else that I need here. Alright, I never did do the flight deck power-up of read and do checklist, so I should do it now just to make sure that I did do it all correctly. We were already powered up, but I'm going to verify that everything was done correctly. So the aircraft flight logs checked, circuit breakers checked, landing gear is down, the radar off, that's at standby now, and that's fine. Battery master main aux standby are all on. Main bus tie is tied. Engine intake bypass doors open. Position lights are on. I'm going to put the logo light on too since it's nighttime. Flight deck displays are all on, obviously. And standby P2 pumps are off. Emergency brake is set, and the pressure checks. External power is on. DC external power is on. Main and nose landing gear doors, pull, release checked. We're going to say we already did the walk around, so it's all good. Safety equipment documents checked. FMS initialized. That's all done. FS2Crew. Sorry, the flight deck power up is done. We're going to skip the 24-hour system checks today. We're going to go straight to the before start checklist. And I think we're ready for that. We can call for that now. Before start checklist.
Stand by.
He goes off and does some flow items.
Bridge and Aiden checks flow.
Complete.
Complete. Gear pins. Stowed. Pre-flight checks.
Complete.
Complete. External power APU voltage.
On. Checked 27 volts.
Circuit breakers.
Checked.
Checked. Escape hatch.
Closed.
Nose wheel steering.
Off.
Flight guidance control panel set. Fuel quantity 7708 pounds on board.
7500 pounds required.
Hydraulic number 3 pressure.
Checked. Check 0 psi.
Emergency brake pressure.
Park. Checked.
Power levers.
Disc.
Condition levers.
Fuel off.
Emergency light switch.
Arm.
Fasten belt switch.
On.
On. Departure briefing.
Complete.
Are you sure?
Oh, I guess I didn't give him the departure briefing, did I? Are you sure? Okay, I'll give you the departure briefing now. Are you ready for the departure briefing? Are you ready for the departure brief? Now he won't listen to me because I did it before. I didn't do it before the checklist. Oh well. Anyways, yeah. So the departure today. I'm gonna again pause the headset here for a moment while I do this. All right. So this is going to be a flat 15 takeoff. Speeds are ASBUG V1, VR, V2, 121, V Fry 131, V Climb 155. Level off altitude today is 2,600 feet. We're departing Kelowna today. So if I can just pull this chart up to where you guys can see it here. There we go. I think you guys should be able to see that. It's pretty small, but hopefully that's a little better now. You guys can see most of that anyways. It's not too clipped. No, it's perfect, actually. Wow, that works out really well with my overlay. Alright, so we're here at Kelowna at the terminal, as you can see here with the little red mark. It's a pretty straightforward taxi out to runway 34. We're just going to taxi down Delta, just a short length to runway 34. We're not going to worry about the backtrack. 8,900-foot runway, we still got probably about 7,000 feet from that point, so I think we're good. Lots of notes around here just because of the mountainous terrain and all sorts of other fun stuff that happens here. It's a very busy, small little airport. Alright, the departure today is going to be the Kelowna 8 departure. This is on 10-3, the 10th of October 2019, and safe altitude 100 miles is 12,500. And the required climb gradient today, so let's see, runway 34, climb inbound track 330 to the LW-257 NDB, then climb outbound on track of 330 from Kelowna NDB for vectors to file assigned route. Note road to 1452, approximately 400 feet past departure end of the runway. There's 400 feet past the departure end of the runway. There's a road a couple, what is that, like 30 or 40 feet higher than the airport. So good positive rotation. Let's see here. Runway 34 requires minimum climb gradient of 460 feet per nautical mile to 5,400. At even if we do 150 knots, that's only 1,100 feet per minute. So that is plenty. The Dash 8 can easily do that. No, the routing also maintained 9,000 assigned. Contact Vancouver Center after passing 4,000. Expect clearance to flight plan altitude 5 minutes after departure. And we'll put in 257 on the beacon. Get rid of that again there. And so on the ADF here. Okay, so we'll make sure we have the ADF tuned to 257. So we're going to fly with the FMS, but just in case we lose the FMS for any reason, we got a backup. Following the appropriate procedures is super important here with all the mountains around. The mountains go 10,000 feet above the airport elevation within 100 miles. And even within 25 miles, they go thousands and thousands of feet above the airport elevation. You look out the windows and you can see the mountains on either side there. It's not great. I'm not sure how well you guys can see this in the Twitch stream here, but there are mountains on both sides, so it is important to stick to the procedure, and the procedure should be programmed in there anyways. We put it in the FMS. As you can see, LW's there. If I just pop this over for a second to nav screen, you can see it's got the LW. So we're going to take off and we're going to turn, we're going to engage nav mode and go to Kelowna. And that's about it. Weather is okay today here in Kelowna. No de-icing, no nothing like that. It's pretty light winds, calm little morning. And also a nice day in Edmonton, Calgary. That'll look good. That's about all I've got. Alright. I think that's about it. So we did the checklist already, and we got 3 minutes. Wow, that took me the entire 30 minutes to get this whole thing ready to go. Isn't that hilarious? Alright. Come on, guys, let's leave 1 minute early if we can. Alright, any second now. I'm just gonna...
Hi guys, here's the load sheet for you. Have a safe flight.
Thank you. 2 minutes. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and say we're fully loaded and everybody's on board. We're going to take the jet bridge away. Main exit closing. And there it goes. Alright, good stuff.
Alright guys, everyone's seated. We're all buttoned up and ready to go in the back.
Thank you.
If you need anything, just let me know.
If in doubt, say thank you to the cabin crew. Alright, let's get GSX ready to go here. Prepare for pushback and departure. We do not need the icing this morning.
Icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until push completed and brakes set.
Engine start checklist to the line. Oh, I unmuted again.
We're ready for pushback.
Engine start checklist to the line.
Battery master main auxiliary standby.
On.
Doors fueling lights.
Closed and out.
Any collision light.
Locking gear.
Red.
Engine start checklist complete to the line.
Below the line.
AP bleed.
Off.
Engine clear on 2.
Clear on 2.
Engine start checklist complete.
I think I have to call the ramp guys as well, so hold on 1 second. Back to my checklist. I've gotten pretty good at doing this, but I'm still... there's still a few areas where I'm a little rough with, so I'm just going to make sure that I read it and I'm not missing anything. Yep, no. With this one, you don't have to contact the ground crew first, so. Start engine 2 for me, please.
Okay.
Start 2 for me, please.
Starting 2.
And the one important thing when you're watching this, make sure you move, if you have condition levers set up, move them in sync with the FO. Otherwise, at some point, the joystick will, the sim will suddenly recognize the position of your condition lever and it go back to idle, or go back to cut off or something. And you don't want that. Alright, that looks like a normal start, so we're going to go ahead and take off the external power. Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
Please disconnect external power.
Roger, disconnecting the GPU.
Give him a second, it'll vanish. Okay, I think we got everything squared away here. We got GSX ready to push us
The
back.
GPU is now disconnected.
Thank you.
Commencing push.
Go ahead and release the parking brake.
Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until push completed and brakes set.
Well, we already got an engine running. With Dash 8, you don't need to worry about this. This is associated with the engine start. Clear on 1. Start engine 1 for me, please.
Starting 1.
Getting better at this with practice. But for the sake of the stream, I have to keep muting this because everything I say, it tries to translate it. It may not do a very good job. It may suddenly convert it to a string of numbers, but it tries to do something with everything I say. It's fine if you're not talking a lot, but when you're streaming, that hard mute button is essential. Alright, that's associated with the engine start. Now, as it's starting to get a little lighter out here, you can start to see more and more of the mountains. We're going to get that sunset, or the sunrise, just a few minutes here.
Set parking brakes.
Waiting your confirmation for good engine start.
Good engine start. You guys are cleared to disconnect. See ya. See, then he starts walking over, honestly. Now, one thing I want to check, actually, is just see if this started tracking. It looks like it started tracking, because now it says end flight here. There's an option in here now that I noticed that wasn't there before, and it's actually a neat little option, and it is auto start...
Unlocking gear.
Auto start end flight with engine. So current flight page must be active, but if you have the current flight page open,
Tow truck disconnected.
and then you start your engine, it automatically starts your flight. When you finish your engine, it automatically ends your flight, which is great, because I've forgotten a couple of times to start my ACAR system, and what a royal pain in the rear when you forget to start your ACAR system, right? And you do the whole flight, and then you get there, and you're like, oh, none of that was logged. I got to fly the whole thing a second time. I've done that so many times. So the idea of having that automatic logging is kind of a nice feature. I really want to put it on the checklist here. I might just put it on the checklist in pen. Just handwrite it in just to make sure the ACAR is started before we take off. Alright, he's giving us the wave off. So we're going to go ahead and bring the condition levers up to max. Thanks, buddy. See you next time. Alright, that is just a parking brake with that one. Alright, that looks good. This is going to start with a flow here, so give it a second. After start checklist.
Stand by.
Got the flap set so I can do the rudder check. And then he's going to do the control check at some point here. Yep, there he goes. And radar standing by. That's just the elevator press caution light. It's going to go out in a second. Set pressure drop.
APU.
Checklist here. Alright. Off.
Main bus tie.
Off.
Ice protection.
Level 1, checked and set. Checked, level 1.
Checked. Level 1. Rudder travel.
Full travel.
Nose wheel steering.
On.
Auto feather.
Auto feather select.
Engine rating.
End top. End top checked. End top 90% checked.
Batteries.
Checked.
Flaps.
$15 set indicating.
15 set and indicating. Aux standby P2 pumps.
On.
On. Hydraulic pressure quantity.
Checked.
Checked. Hydraulic number 3 in elevator. Checked. Caution warning lights.
Checked.
Flight instruments radios.
Checked.
Checked. Altimeters.
3025 inches set cross-checked. .3025 set cross-check.
3025 set and cross-checked. After start checklist complete.
Clear on the left.
And we are clear on the right.
Alright. Set taxi light on.
Taxi light set to on.
away we go. Alright, I'm getting the hang of this checklist stuff. It takes practice, there's no doubt about it. It's not the easiest thing in the world. It takes a little bit of practice, but we're getting there. Hopefully this stream is showing up a little smoother than the last time. With the new computer, the sim runs fantastic. One thing I didn't do when I upgraded the computer was I didn't tweak the settings in my streaming software at all, so it was still streaming at a pretty low rate before, which was all that I could really manage anyways. It didn't make a difference because the sim was running at a slow rate. But with the sim running so beautifully now, the streaming software was not capturing how smooth that sim software was running. So hopefully now I've tweaked the setting. Hopefully it's streaming a little smoother this time than last time. I hope. If not, we'll tweak it some more. Alright, it's not a very long taxi out here, is it? Kelowna traffic. Encore 3216 is taxiing for departure, runway 34.
Flight deck. Okay, thanks. Captain, they're securing the cabin.
Thank you. Thank you. Before takeoff checklist to the line.
Flight attendants, please be seated for departure. FA notification received. Takeoff briefing complete. Cabin PA complete. Condition levers.
Max.
Max. Trims.
3 set.
3 set. Takeoff warning test.
Tested.
Flight controls check free. Light taxi.
Flight.
Radar terrain. Transponder TCAS on alt. Before takeoff checklist complete to the line.
Below the line.
Bleeds, min on. External lights on. Runway.
Wait for it. Runway 34, heading 339. Runway 34, heading 339.
Before takeoff checklist complete.
Alright, I think we're ready to go. One quick peruse of the sheet to make sure I don't forget the stupid command, because I'm pretty sure I have to say the magic word or he doesn't cycle to the next part of the check. Alright, we're gonna give this a try, guys. Check power.
Power checked. $80 knots.
Checked.
V1, rotate. Positive rate.
Gear up.
Gear up. acceleration altitude.
Flap 0, IAS 200, climb checklist to the line. Nav mode. Select nav.
Nav selected.
Autopilot on.
Autopilot's on. Climb checklist completed to the line.
Thank you. Alright, and there we go. We're airborne, guys. Not too bad. We made it. I'm getting the hang of flying with this FO. Looks like we're going to get into that cloud deck, so we're going to go ahead and put the prop heat on. And here comes the sun. We made it just in time for a little sunrise. There goes the airport behind us, up the mountain valley. There's a beautiful lake right there, too. It's an absolutely phenomenal place here. But we are going to have to climb to about 9,000 feet before we turn on course here. Oh, shoot. And again, what I was talking about earlier, I watched the FO in the corner of my eye retract the flaps, but my flap control that I have set here then reset them to extend. Nope, nope, don't do that. Don't do that. What was the heading to fly after departure here, guys? It was 330 on the heading after the LW. And we're going to keep that 330 heading until we get to 9,000. There are some mountains I think we're probably clear. You can kind of see out there. But I would rather make sure that we're above them for sure. So we're going to continue this heading until we get to 9,000 and we'll turn direct the next fix. Trim out some of this yaw here. That's a little better. Here comes the sun. Oh, it's going to be a beautiful morning out here, I hope.
$1,000 to go. Alt cell.
Set flight level 190. Set flight level 190.
Set.
I'll just do it myself, to heck with you. You gotta be careful talking when FS2Crew is listening, because they will do almost anything.
Flight level 190. Set. Checked.
Alright, now we're through 9,000, so now we can go ahead and go to the FMS, and we'll just do a DTO to our next fix of Ramra. And there's LNAV mode. Now we're well above those mountains out there. Ooh, but it is pretty as the sun comes up here. It's a beautiful morning out there. We are through 10,000. So we're supposed to be doing the next checklist. Below the line.
Climb checklist complete.
Alright, and yeah, we'll leave the seatbelt on just so we get through this layer. It looks like it might get a little bit rough here as we come up through this layer, but what a beautiful morning out here. A nice time of day to be flying out here and seeing the sights. And there we go. That was Kelowna. That was the Kelowna 8 departure out of Kelowna. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was it's a beautiful scenery out there. I'm getting the hang of this FS2 crew. I think I can say with some confidence. I'm not totally confident. Some of the phrases, and it's so picky about the phrases that some of them I'm still learning. I'm still not totally confident in all the phrases, but I'm getting there. I'm definitely getting there in terms of... Alright, and we are in pitch hold mode. That's good. Yeah, we should stay in pitch hold mode. We'll just pitch down just a little lower so we don't lose too much speed. I'm definitely becoming more confident in the commands for FS2 crew. Like I said, very picky, more so than a real FO would be. An FO would understand, like, if you don't say the exact correct words, he'd understand what you're trying to say most of the time, or would question it if not. But with FS2 crew, obviously with voice detection, in order to keep the calculations reasonable, they have reduced the number of possible words that start phrases. So they're listening for certain keywords to start phrases, and if once it hears the keyword, there's Ramra. Once it hears the keyword, then it starts really listening and trying to process the rest of the phrase. So I understand the limitations of FS2 Crew, and what they've done, how they put together is fantastic. It's just a matter of just learning some of those key phrases, some of the things, because they don't want words that sound similar starting phrases, because then it'll start going down different paths depending on which phrase you get. So I understand the limitations of FS2 Crew. I totally understand it, and it's just a matter of learning it. It's practicing it, and I'm getting pretty good with the Dash. I tried actually yesterday to take a flight in the Mad Dog with FS2 Crew, and it was a little bit of a gong show. The phraseology is quite different. The checklists are obviously very different from the Dash 8, but even some of the phrases are quite different. The orders of things happening are different, so it ended up being a bit of a disaster. And I don't know. I feel like FS2 Crew was not quite working properly 100%. I felt like some of the phrases, like even when I said things correctly and I got the feedback that they were being said correctly, it still got stuck in a few places. So I think my FS2 Crew for the Mad Dog may need a reinstallation. I found the same thing for the Dash, actually. I installed it, and then I had to uninstall it and reinstall it again, because for some reason it was just not, the voice packs were not working properly. Alright, there's transition, so set standard. Transition set 2992. There's some specific phrase I've got to use here. (2992) set cross check.
2992.
It was almost too easy to say it. All right, there we go. We're getting there though. Took off that Alt Star. Oh, really? We're going to be just cruising through the top here? That's going to be boring. No, I don't want that. If I had ATC online, I would request higher. I'm just going to request higher for myself. Oh, actually, hold on. Wait a second here.
Checked.
Okay, I'm going to stop talking to you now. You're on mute. Just kind of skirting the tops here. You know what? Let's do it. Let's climb to 210 for a cruise. We're supposed to cruise at 190. We're going to go up to 210. Just get us out of the tops here. Pitch up just a couple degrees. Once we get on top of this, then we can turn off the seatbelt sign. Let everybody go and have their fun. Pretty much all you can do in an airplane is go pee anyways. Let them pee switch, as it's known. Also the turbulence activation switch in the real world. It's the ironic thing that whenever the captain finally decides to turn off the fast seatbelt sign, is usually 2 seconds later is when the turbulence starts. So it's called the turbulence switch. Whenever you turn this off, turbulence magically starts right about now. Bump, 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 bump.
1,000 to go.
Just kidding. Checked. For those of you that didn't notice, for that hard mute button there, I do have a key on the keyboard now to help me out. Just I don't have to constantly move with the mouse to click it. Sometimes it's quicker and easier depending on whether my hand's on the keyboard or the mouse, but there's another airport down there. There's airports all over these mountains here, and we're going to explore a few of them from time to time. Here we go, Alt Star for 210, and then we'll let it accelerate. But there we go. We're getting there. The next leg is well underway, and Why does he appear to be... Oh, you know why he's off? Because I never gave direct to Ramra on his side. These FMSs are not synced. They have to be manually synced, manually cross-filled, so... Oops, don't do that. Just zoom that out a little more, too, and you can see what's going on there, too. Okay, there we go, buddy. It's a little bit frustrating. It's a good failsafe because if you do something in the current active FMS and it screws up your flight, you can always revert to the previous one. Or, conversely, oh my god, that's like the third time this morning I've gotten the same spam call. From like the same phone number. Oh, this guy should be in FMS mode. He never set himself to FMS. There you go. I can probably tell him. I think there's a command to tell him to do that too. He should do it on his own anyways. There we go. Crossing the mountains off towards Edmonton. Another leg of a pilot's life in progress and beautiful sky tones. Here comes the sun right there. Not the most beautiful sunrise I've ever seen, but not too bad. Let's see if we can get a few beautiful exterior shots. Oh, look at that one. Well, that's nice. Gotta get some nice exterior shots for the title card for the YouTube video when it does come out. What other ones do we got here? It's a nice color. Beautiful with the mountains in the background. One of these is going to be the title card, I can pretty much guarantee you. There we go, that's what we're looking for. Beautiful. We got a whole bunch of other exterior views. I like that one too, though. With those colors, that's nice. That's really nice. This might be the one, but I want to get the WestJet logo in there. So let's just play with the ChasePlane just a little bit, see if we can go down just a little bit, see if we can get a better... Oh, that might have even been a bit too far. Just enough that you just got the word WestJet in sight there. Like that. That's how it's done. Very nice indeed. It's a beautiful morning out there. Nice beautiful sunrise. Mountains hiding just below the cloud deck there everywhere. It's a pretty extensive cloud deck there. Maybe I'll do like Active Sky requests and finally put a flight plan in there, because it's always requesting a flight plan and I never put it in there. Okay, we'll put it in there. There you go, just go direct, it's fine. There, then at least it'll know what airport we're flying to as a destination and hopefully crank up the right weather when we get there. Ah, what a beautiful morning though for flying. Nice and smooth out here. Oh, where the hell did those mountains... Oh, the mountains were there all along. I guess the weather just shifted now because of that. That was a little sudden. Just because I actually put in the destination and suddenly decided what the weather was going to be different. That was a little sudden and shocking. Oh well. Alright, I think that's probably about as fast as we're going to go. So, the one thing we'll do is we'll do the quick cruise check, and the only thing required to do the cruise check in this version right now is just to come back to 850. There we go. Alright, and that's it. So, I had one person ask me in the comments to one of the previous videos about why I don't do single-engine taxi in the Dash. It's something that a lot of real-world operators do. You know, and it's a great question. And there's a couple of reasons why I don't do single-engine taxi in the sim. First of all, the place where I used to operate the Dash, they only started to introduce single-engine taxi in the last couple months before I left. So I spent close to, I think, over 5 years learning how to operate this airplane with two-engine taxi as the normal standard. And then they started bringing in the single-engine taxi. So I won't say I was uncomfortable with the procedures, but I was definitely not familiar with them. Not to the level that I was extremely comfortable with the two-engine taxi that I've been doing for 5 years. So when they brought it in, there wasn't a lot of SOP changes, but there were quite a few SOP changes that had to happen in the after-start taxi and before takeoff realms. The checklist for those 3 items were completely just destroyed and rewritten from scratch to sync up with certain things that had to happen for single-engine taxi. So it was very different. I had learned it but I was not familiar with it. So when I took a little bit of a break when I left the job flying the Dash, and then started picking up the Majestic Dash again, I reverted to the habits I knew, and that was the long-standing 2-engine taxi checklist. So that's the first reason why. It's just unfamiliarity. I was not familiar with it. I have all the checklists. I could go through them and learn them again, but it takes quite a bit of hassle to learn them. I mean, it's just learning FS2Crew is enough of an effort. And to relearn the single-engine taxi, the checklists are quite a bit different. The flows are quite a bit different in the after start during taxi before takeoff realm. So that's reason number one, unfamiliarity. Reason number two has to do with workload, and that's a problem in the simulator. I am flying single pilot. As much as FS2Crew is trying to provide a second pilot, I'm essentially flying single pilot. And one of the most dangerous times with any turbine engine is the startup process. If you take your eyes off for a couple of seconds during the startup process at the wrong moment and something does go wrong, you can cook an engine in a matter of seconds, and you can end up with a $20–30 million paperweight sitting out there that will do nobody any good ever again without extensive repairs, if not total replacement. So it's not something that you want to take lightly. You want to monitor the start carefully. This is another problem I had with the single engine taxi, is that at some point, especially with the taxi out, I don't mind so much the taxi in, and that's pretty easy. But with the taxi out, somebody has to start the engine. Usually the captain's got the tiller, the captain's taxiing, the FO's starting the engine, but no captain is going to allow the FO to start the engine without at least one eyeball kind of straying towards the engine instruments and watching that, and that's a distraction while you're taxiing. And the FO, meanwhile, the one who's actually really doing the engine start, it takes 45 to 60 seconds to start the engine. They are full on, heads down, in here for 45 to 60 seconds, looking here, not really being able to talk on the radio, definitely not literally paying much attention to where the captain's taxiing. And I remember that I was chastised back in my early days flying the Dash for not being heads up enough as an FO, not being heads up enough, eyes outside the flight deck enough during taxi. So then the company came along and said, well, it's okay if you're heads down to start the engine, but what's the difference? There's still an inherent risk if the captain's now the only person with his eyes outside, and he might even not be totally focused outside while the FO is completely focused inside. There's a huge risk there for a lack of situational awareness, even temporary, perhaps making a wrong turn while you're taxiing, missing a radio call while you're taxiing because one person is completely focused on this and the second person is half focused on this, and only half the attention of one person is outside, perhaps. There's a huge inherent risk in the simulator world, especially. There is no FO doing that engine start. If you want to do single engine taxi, guess who's going to be starting the engine? It's me, the same person that's taxiing the airplane, looking outside, and starting the engine, moving the condition levers. It's not a hard process. Generally, it doesn't fail in the sim, but personally, I try to operate the sim in as realistic a manner as possible, and I try to assume that the engine will fail at some point, and I should be monitoring it. So to do it in a sim without an FO to do the actual engine start, that is a really challenging thing to me. There's so much going on, and in the sim, generally, while you're doing the pushback, is a great time to do the engine start because the airplane is moving without really needing your direct attention on the movement of the airplane. The pushback, the GSX usually does a very good job. They seldom screw it up too badly. So you can focus on the engine start to that point. Trying to do an engine start while taxiing in the sim, therein lies a challenge. So that's my real second reason, is more because of the workload in the sim. So reason number one, again, just unfamiliarity with the single engine taxi procedures. There are quite a lot of different procedures. Reason number two, just workload. It's so much workload while you're taxiing. It's all you can do sometimes to keep the airplane on the center line, just doing a taxi check, let alone actually trying to move switches and monitor the engine start and make sure you're on the center line, and still monitor the engine start and still make sure you're on the center line. Those are the reasons why I don't do it. It's not that I don't think it's a bad idea. It comes down more to unfamiliarity. Since you've asked, I'm going to try in the future. Not today, because I haven't really had a chance to look it over, but when I get a chance, I will look over the single-engine taxi procedures. I'll definitely try to start doing some single-engine taxiing when we have longer taxis. That's not too hard. Turning the engine off is a lot less risk than turning it on, as long as you do it properly. But there are a few inherent risks with single-engine taxi. First, you get asymmetric thrust. When you've got one engine on one side putting out thrust and the other engine's not, you're always going to be counteracting that turning tendency. You're going to have a constant turning tendency. You're going to have to work to counteract the whole time. which is not terrible, but it's something that while you're taxiing, you just have to be that much more focused to keep the center line. Otherwise, if you're every time you look away to do anything else, throw a switch, run a checklist, the plane's going to drift off the center line for you. There's other risks as well. Once you turn off one engine, you've now turned off a hydraulic system. And in the case of the Dash 8, the anti-skid brakes are on the number 1 system, which is normally the engine that's shut down. So if you kill the pressure on the number 1 system by shutting down the engine, you have now killed your normal brakes, which is not a good thing, which is why we need to make sure that we do have the standby hide pump turned on, so that it pressurizes the number 1 system while we're taxiing, so that you can still have your normal anti-skid pedal brakes. But that's something else you need to verify. The company that I was at, they came up with a procedure as well. When you're turning into the gate after shutting down an engine early, is you'd always look down and verify before you, as you just made the turn into the gate, or just before you made the turn into the gate, that the number 1 system was still pressurized. Because there's nothing worse than getting to the gate, getting just to the right spot, and you just start to tap the toe brakes just a little bit, just to slow you down just a little bit, and then you realize there's nothing there. There's no warning that'll come up if the brakes are not working because the system's not pressurized. And then you've got to think fast and grab that parking brake in a real hurry before the airplane goes into the building. So it's something that was trained pretty extensively into people and drilled into people that this was the huge risk factor in the single engine taxi in. With the taxi out it's different, but with the taxi in, the huge risk factor is if you don't remember to activate those hydraulics and you don't have brakes. But because often the Dash 8 we don't use the brakes because we use the disking feature. It's nice to have that disc on the thrust levers. You don't use the brakes very much. But then when you finally want to use them, you're not aware that they're not working because you haven't used them yet. So there's a huge risk factor there. With a taxi out, it's the start really that's the risk factor. That has the same problem. You have to have the hydraulic pumps on before you start taxiing to ensure the pressure is maintained in the number 1 system. If you start engine 2 and then don't start engine 1 and start taxiing again because you need brakes. So these are kind of some of the risks and some of the things that you have to change the checklist and make it a little bit different to account for these risks. But I promise I will try to make an effort to. I don't know if it'll even make it into the next video or not, but I will at some point in the not too distant future start looking over the single engine taxi. And even if I just do single engine taxi in, just to sort of demonstrate it for those of you guys that are operating the Dash that are interested in seeing the procedure. Again, every company's going to be a little bit different, so please don't take my training as gospel truth, because your company may want to do things a little bit different. They may analyze things and say, we think the risks are a little bit different and we want to do them a different way. Every company's entitled to come up with their own checklist, their own procedure for doing things. Has to be approved by their regulatory agency, but usually as long as they can prove that it doesn't compromise safety, it's just doing things in a different order, then they'll usually get the approval without too much effort. Alright, here we are, we're coming up onto Promra. And let's have a quick little progress check here. So let's just check the performance here. We're showing 40 minutes still until we arrive into Edmonton, so I got a little more time to talk about one more thing here. The other thing I want to talk about, and it's not a terrible thing, it's just something I want to talk about, and that is something called Parallel 42, which probably, for those of you that are simmers out there, you may or may not have heard of Parallel 42 now, but it's going to become a bit of a bigger name now because of the announcement that came out. It was either earlier this week or late last week. That Parallel 42 has taken over the entire stable of Orbx, or not of Orbx, excuse me. Parallel 42 has taken over the entire stable of Old Prop software. For those of you that are not familiar with Old Prop makes a bunch of immersion software that creates better sound sets for your sim, and they create one super essential piece of software, at least as far as I'm concerned. And that is this right here, and that is ChasePlane. ChasePlane is made by Old Prop. And it's now been transferred to a new company. It's still the same old ChasePlane, but it's been transferred to a new company. So I guess I watched the interview. What basically happened is that the people who ran Parallel 42 and Old Prop are actually old friends, and they've worked together quite a bit in the past, and they came to a partnership. The gentleman who runs Old Prop and who created ChasePlane and all this immersion software, basically he is trying to put more and more time into Parallel 42's primary project, which is the SkyPark, which I've talked about before. Go look it up on SkyPark. Just Google SkyPark or go onto Orbx's website to find it. But because he wanted to put more time and effort into it, he didn't want to continue to maintain his own separate company. So that's why they were already friends. They decided it would be easier if they brought all that stuff under the Parallel 42 banner, and then they can have a unified company that produces all these products, but they can also have unified support and everything for their products. The other thing that this also has allowed them to do, because Parallel 42 is selling their products on Orbx, is that all of your old prop software is now available on Orbx. If you purchased it on the old prop website, you can go to that website, you can transfer it to your Orbx account if you have one. If you don't have one, you'll have to make one, and then you can use Orbx Central to download all of those items, which is, Orbx Central is a pretty good integrated installer. Everything downloads and updates and installs very nicely on it. I've never had too much issue with it. It's nice to have all those things in one place. The less stores you kind of have to visit to reinstall stuff in your sim. I just reinstalled the sim, and I had to visit dozens of stores to get everything reinstalled, to get all my codes and everything done back. The more you can stay away from that and sort of combine things into one store, the easier your life gets. The other thing I'll say that is nice is that Orbx is now starting to become a serious competitor with SimMarket. They're not just marketing their own products now. Now they're becoming a commercial platform for other people to release their products. And SimMarket does not do a half-bad job. I'm not saying that SimMarket does a bad job, but like anything else, competition in a market is good. It promotes innovation. It helps keep prices reasonable for the customers and for the developers as well, who are also getting charged, commission to list their things in these stores. So having competition in this marketplace is a good thing. So having Orbx come along now, and they're starting to become a major competitor, because until recently, SimMarket was basically dominant in the industry. There were a few other websites, certainly, but I don't think anyone had close to the market share or the product selection that SimMarket has had for quite some time now. So it's nice to see Orbx coming along and doing that. It's nice to see ChasePlane come under that window. I hope that it won't get screwed up by too much. But I'll be honest, I did it. I did it yesterday. After my failed stream yesterday, I did sit down and I decided to transfer it over. And I've got to say, it was mostly pretty painless. It took me probably about 20-30 minutes to get it done in total. You have to transfer your license. You just go into the old prop website, you ask to transfer your licenses to your Orbx account, you go sign into your Orbx account, and it transfers everything over. You have to uninstall the old version of ChasePlane and reinstall the new version. So the one that was installed with the old props VFX Central, you have to remove that, completely uninstall all of that, and then reinstall it from Orbx Central, and it works, and then it's there and loaded forever. Your presets will stay. All of my presets did get transferred successfully. I didn't have any problem there. The license, it transferred pretty quickly. The biggest issue I had was just running VFX Central. I had to re-download it and reinstall VFX Central, because lately it's been giving me some issues where it complains that it's not a valid copy. I don't know why. And if I reinstall it, it seems to work, so I didn't bother making a big noise on the forums or anything about it. But that was the biggest hiccup I ran into. Otherwise, it was a pretty reasonably quick process. But it's one of those, you'll do it once now and you'll never have to do it again. Now your old prop license is loaded into your ChasePlane license, or whatever immersion software you have is loaded to your Orbx store, and it's there. So that was a bit of interesting news. I'm glad to see that the SkyPark is still moving forward. It seems like they have a lot of great ideas. As I said, there's a lot of these things going on right now. There's a lot of these sort of persistent MMOs sort of coming around right now. Be interesting to see, as this starts to shake out, which ones end up being the ones that that last, which ones kind of fall by the wayside. I think those that have a very specific niche will probably last a little longer. Just my initial impression, it seems like PMDG's global flight operations is probably much more tuned to the airline flyer. SkyPark seems like it's going to be more of a bit of a fun thing. You're probably more inclined to use slightly smaller aircraft flying to a different variety of fields. Some of the other ones like On Air and Air Hauler and all those other more traditional ones, FS economy style ones, again, seemed like they're tuned more to the smaller ones. So I think PMDG's global flight ops will find a good niche as long as they don't charge too much, because they really are tuned more to the airline level, where you are being dispatched as part of a large airline instead of just running your company. And that, I think, is also where where a pilot's life also comes in here. Having this right here, I've talked to friends of mine, and everyone who uses this, it's the schedule generation that they like. It seems like a plausible schedule that you would be assigned as a pilot for an airline. So the randomness of the schedule generation, where it does do some real legs and it sort of has a whole series of stuff coming along, that seems to be the place where I think this will, I think where Simbit World, where Pilot's Life will really shine here. I don't know why it's not showing me where. I thought it was supposed to have a. Looks the flight progress is here, but it just doesn't have a pin on the map of where I am. Well, it does seem to be measuring progress. So. We'll see what happens with Parallel 42. They had big plans, and obviously, as they keep on trying to add more features, it probably slowed things down, slowed the development down. And I think also this transfer now of old properties under the Parallel 42 banner took some time to implement, but in the long run, it then freed up more resources to work on the SkyPark. So it's one that I'm interested in. I don't know if I'll actually sign up and pay money for it. Honestly, I'll have to evaluate it. I barely have enough time to do flying as it is these days, it seems. So paying more money for another service that I may or may not use, it's something that I'll have a challenge with. The same thing with On Air right now. On Air, I think in late December, early January, finally added the feature that I said was going to make or break the system, which was the work order system, where you can take your AI pilots you've assigned and you can assign them a whole list of tasks to do throughout the day or a couple days or whatever, as they have until they run out of duty day or whatever. And that was what was really missing for the initial release. You had to be sitting there micromanaging, and every time somebody landed, you had to go, okay, you've landed, now I'm going to assign you this. And you had to be at your computer, you know, umpteen times a day to assign things as soon as somebody lands to get them going to the next one before they start to duty out. So having the work orders and having the pilots automatically fly a whole list of duties, and then you can step away and not come back for the rest of the day, is going to make that software run so much better. It's going to make it so much more worthwhile. You'll be able to actually do things practically from an airline standpoint. Again, I looked at it the other day and I said, it does seem like they've solved the biggest issue they have, but I don't have the time to invest in a whole lot of time in another simulation software. I signed up for FS Economy and I haven't flown in it for a month because I just don't have the time. So to add another simulated economy to the list, I would love to. I think it would be fun, but I don't think I have the time to do it right now. So anyways, that's why I'm staying away from it for now. I'm hoping in the future, maybe if I free up some time, maybe if I get bored with a pilot's life, I might switch to doing something like On Air Company or something. I don't know. Right now I'm really enjoying a pilot's life. I think it's great. It takes me so long to get through the schedule that I'm not going to run out of interest in it anytime soon. Okay, so we're kind of getting there. We're about 100 miles from Esky. We're sort of starting to get to our destination here, so it's time to start thinking about what we're doing here. So let's do this first. Let's look at our landing weight, 59,997, just a hair below 60,000. Subtract some fuel burn for the approach, and we'll probably actually be landing closer to 60,500 once we reduce the power during the descent. So let's get some speeds for the arrival here. Let's see, I'm going to round it up to 61,000 pound speeds. Edmonton has some nice long runways, so we're just going to do this flap 15 today. And let's see here, for flap 15, we're looking at 120, PREF of 125, VGO around of 115, and then the flap retraction speed will be 129 and 152. So we go down here to the transponder. This is the secret trick. And you dial in your speeds right here. If you don't have a 29 on the transponder, you can round up 1 knot. And 52. There. If we fly those speeds, we'll be safe. Really? Flap retraction is, yeah, 30? Okay, yep. Seems almost low. Like we're starting to get out of the mountains here. Kind of approaching the end of the mountains here now, and it's starting to open out to some more flat terrain out there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and bring up our Navigraph charts here again. We are going to go to our destination. So we'll close that up. Destination, open charts list, and here we go. Esky to arrival. And the other thing we're going to do really quickly here is just request the weather in, no, not Kelowna again, Edmonton. Winds 230 at 2. Pretty light winds. Do we really need to circle around for runway 20? Or can we do something even faster to get in and out? Because I don't think there's any ATC on a line anywhere around here that I have seen, unless I'm just missing all the radio calls here. I don't think there's any ATC online here today. Nobody around at all. So let's make this a little bit easier, and let's do runway 12. It's almost winds are almost non-existent. So we're going to take this SQ2 arrival for runway 12, and we're going to take, there's an ILS to runway 12. We'll make it easy. We'll take up the airport chart as well, and there we go. So this is what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be doing the SQ arrival to runway 12. So let's reprogram the FMS first for this, and then we can start planning our descent here. So nav, menu, flight plan, menu, arrive. So we're going to go runway 12 now. Via the SQ2, runway 12 transition, ILS 12, and then the transition point, where's my chart here? BMIG if I've got it. Do I have BMIG? I do have BMIG. Nice. This will be quick and easy. We'll be in there, and we'll have a chance of doing the second leg here. Alright. So that's in there. We've got the speeds, we've got the FMS programmed, and again, let's check what the crossing restrictions are here on the arrival. So SQ at or below 1900, and then AppKit at 8000 is the target. So let's go ahead and set up the VNav for AppKit. No, doesn't want to take it for some reason. AppKit. What if I take the other AppKit, number 4? Why does it not want to take my... Oh, does it not know I'm on this? Oh, that's why. For some reason, it ends at ESCI. Shouldn't have a double ESCI in there. Let's just delete that one as well. There we go. So now it should be able to find the VNav now that it knows when we're going to get to AppKit. 8,000. PS minus 1,800. We got 6 minutes till we start down. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so we've got the VNav set in there. Let's just bring up the... there you go. Let's bring up the approach again here. The ILS to runway 12 here in Edmonton. That's weird that it's not centered. So we're looking for 109.9 and the inbound course of 120. Alright, so 109.9. We're going to have to set here on the radio. Put it on number 1 and number 2. And the inbound course of 120. So the FO, we can set his side really easy. On my side, we can't do that, but we can do this. Format 1, 2, 3. There we go. Set the inbound course of 120. And there we go. Alright. Just going to zoom that in a little bit there. Alright, so we're almost there. That trim a little better there. There we go. Yeah, the mountains really kind of fell away there. They just sort of ended foothills, and then now we're just sort of out into the plains of Alberta. Okay. I guess we could do it this way. The other thing I guess I need from this, really quickly, is what is the minimums on this? So the ILS 2544. Okay. So we need to set 2544. Hey, look at that. Oh, not that one. This one. 2544 rounds to 2550, and that's our ILS minimums right there. Perfect. Love it. The other thing while we're at it here, basically 2350 is our airport elevation, so we need to change this while we're thinking about it. Yeah, that's about right. Still got our prop heat on? Yep, we do. Good. Alright, we can fly through that cloud without too much issue. Alright, let me do this. Are you ready for the approach briefing?
Go ahead.
Alright, then I'm going to mute it, and I'm going to yak for a long time here. Alright, so today we're going to be doing the, we're going to start with the SK2 arrival into Edmonton. It's going to be runway 12, 20-2, 5th of April 2019. Descent planning, aircraft planning, the ILS-12. Mandatory altitude app kit is not applicable. Oh, okay. The 8000 app kit is not applicable. You know what? I'm going to leave that in there because that's going to set us up nicely for the ILS anyways. It's going to be pretty reasonable altitude to set us up for the ILS. So not really applicable, but there it is. Alright, so the fixes, SKI at or below 190, app kit at 8000, and then BMIG, and that's where we're going to transition to the approach anyways. So there it is. SKI app kit at 8000, BMIG, and we're going to definitely, we start down very soon here, we're going to definitely be below that SKI restriction there. And then at BMIG, we're going to transition into the ILS to runway 12 here in Edmonton. This is 21-2, the 25th April 2019. The loc 1099 and inbound course 120. I've set both sides already. The glide slope at the ZNDB, which is Devon NDB, 3650. And the ILSDA is set to 2544. I've got the 2550 already set. Touchdown zone at 2344. MSA is highest as 4400. Most sectors around the ZNDB. And Mr. Approach climb to 4400, track 120 to the ZAB NDB, Leduc. As required shuttle climb. Radar not required, so about 100 miles is 9200. And loc reliable only within 10 degrees of the center line. BMIG 5000 crossing. So we'll make sure that's in there in a second. And then my pot looks like 5000 turn final with my pot too. So at or above 5000 at BMIG will be fine. Normal 3-degree glide slope, SSALR lighting system. Once we land on 1-2, we're going to take the convenient left turn off. We might make Alpha 2 the reverse high speed, otherwise we'll take the Alpha 1 the reverse high speed. Back to the apron, I'm going to find a parking spot in a few minutes through FlightAware. That's basically all I got for that. Wait for it, wait for it. Do you have any questions?
No questions.
He never has questions. Okay. Notice the VNAV is now alive on here, which means we're within 2 minutes of top of drop. I can now arm the VNAV. So we're going to go ahead and set the lower altitude of 8000. Arm the VNAV, and away we go. She'll start down on our own in a second. And now I can't remember if I should do the descent checklist with FS2Crew before. After the descent has been initiated, then we do the descent checklist to the line. Okay, there you go. Answer that question. Alright, through the clouds. Alright, so one last thing I'll do before we get too involved in this is I'm just going to look up a gate over here on my... We'll pretend that my flight plan is over here. In reality, it's just FlightAware. Gate 49 Foxtrot. And again, we can go to my Navigraph charts here. Pull them over here, and we can just pull up the apron chart. I'm going to stop looking at this in a second because we're going to start down, and I'm going to overspeed. But 49 Foxtrot, there it is, 49 Foxtrot's on this little kind of pier over here. Alright, so hopefully it's programmed into the sim properly. Something around the 49-50 range anyways, I think will work well, whatever works for it. Alright, any second now, I'm going to start down. Be ready because I've got to bring that power back. There's no auto thrust in the dash. And we can start talking to FS2Crew, because I'm talking to you guys. This guy I've been completely ignoring. It's a good thing he's a robot. Wouldn't it be neat if FS2Crew actually drew somebody here, too, that you could look at? Not that that would be good for the performance at all, but there's VNAV path, starting down, speed's picking up, so here comes the power back towards idle. of course, we got to get that rudder trim in there then. There we go. It's not too bad. Keeping us just below the red line. And down we go. Alright. And here we go. Descent checklist to the line.
Altimeters.
2992, set cross-check.
2992. Set and cross-checked. Fuel balance.
Checked. Check.
Check. Pressurization. Set. Cabin PA. Standby. I'll be off 1.
Okay.
Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival. Thank you. Cabin PA complete. Fasten belt switch. On. Approach and landing brief.
Complete.
Complete. Descent checklist completed to the line.
Nice. There we go. Alright, we can bump that power up a little bit as we go down here. And I forgot what the altimeter was. It was 2995 in Edmonton today, so 2995 is there. There's not much traffic out there on the VATSIM network. I'm still going to make a couple of radio calls. Just professional in me says I should do it. And we're getting down there. Prairies are pretty boring out here, but we're going to get to Edmonton in, what, 10 minutes now? 15 minutes here? What do we got? 10 minutes. It says 10 minutes till we land in Edmonton. Not too bad. Should start appearing on the horizon there shortly. And appears to be somebody at my door, so stand by one moment and I'll be right back. And it's just the postman delivering things, so not that important. Okay. Alright, here comes Esky, so turn here, we're definitely below 190, no problem there, and the airport should start to come into sight. It's only, I guess about 40 miles away still. But definitely going to save some time by doing the straight-in approach today. That'll be useful. Let's use this guy. Set prop heat to off. Set props to off. Nope, okay. Hold on, let me look at my command sheet here. I know I can do it. How do I do it? Prop anti-ice. Set prop anti-ice to off.
Prop anti-ice set to off.
Thank you. You're a useful little FO sometimes. He's funny. I need a little bit more rudder trim there now. There's some icy little spots down there in Alberta. She's cold out there. How cold is she today? She's not that bad, actually. Edmonton, it's -8. It's not really that bad. I think last week it was like into the -20s and 30s, so... Heck, -8 is pretty warm. Can live with -8. Alright, there we are. We're about 10,000 feet above the field elevation, so... Gonna do some things here. I know I have to set this to 15. because he doesn't do it, but he expects it to be done, so. Oh my god, the spam caller for the 4th time today. Same number, too. It's starting to drive me nuts. If it's important, leave a message. I am going to fly the second flight. Yes, I think we are, because we're going to be there in like 10-15 minutes. I've got enough time. The second flight today is from Edmonton down to Calgary there, so it's only like an hour flight. So yeah, I think we're going to squeeze in that second flight today. We've got time. And, it looks like a beautiful day for flying anyways up here. There's not much traffic going on, not much ATC either, but it's a beautiful, clear, calm day for flying. So yeah, we're going to get that second flight done today. Alright, and here I am, 10,000 feet, and still doing 270 knots. Got distracted. Alright, let's do the checklist here. Below the line.
Jib with landing flap. Selected 15 degrees. Fuel transfer. Off. Hydraulic pressure quantity. Check. Caution warning lights. Check. Approach flare lights. On. Ref speed switch. Bugs.
Offset.
Off. Set. FA notification. Complete. Descent checklist complete.
Thank you. You don't have to say thank you. It just seems like the polite thing to do. Alright. Should start to see that airport soon. It's at our 12 o'clock for 20 miles. It's just coming in there, and you know what, while I'm thinking about it right now, let's see what GSX has here. What's going on?
1,000 to go. Alt cell.
Checked. For some reason, my GSX does not seem to want to work. Oh, there it is. Edmonton, there it is. Alright, gate. So they don't have 49 Foxtrot here. Seemed like a hard stand thing. So we're going to go with gate 50, which is the closest one I can find to it. Handling by WestJet. That sounds like a good idea to me. Alright, there's that was 9 descending 8, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just continue down to 5,000. Still set alt cell. We're just going to go into VS and just bring it up to 1,000 feet per minute down. That's a pretty normal rate. Airport should be off over there somewhere. We're going to see it in a couple minutes here. Alright, we're still doing 220 knots. That's not too bad. Just enjoying the scenery a little bit too. I have not been to Edmonton in the real world in probably 8 years. And I haven't been here in the sim. At least a couple years anyways. It was only once I think I came here. Okay. One thing we got to do here, actually, because she's going to start a turn in a second, is we got to remove this no link here. So this has got to be... we got to do 13 right here. There. So the vector leg was still programmed in the star, and if I had not just done that as quickly as I just did that, we would have cranked around off on our vector leg, on our downwind leg, and we don't need it. We're going straight in, and actually while I'm thinking about that, Edmonton traffic, good morning. Encore 3126 is 20 miles to the west on a right base for ILS runway at 12. Alright, and we'll get the FO to show the loc. We'll start slowing it up so we can start configuring here in a second. Somewhere out there. Oh, is that it there? I think that's the Edmonton airport. I think I see just a faint little runway there. We're going to turn final in a second. It'll become really obvious, I think. Alright, looking good. We should be 5,000 easily when we turn final there. And it looks like we are below the glide slope. Doesn't seem right. Thought we're supposed to turn final at 5,000. Recommended 5,000 turning final from my pod.
4,000 to go. Alt cell.
Checked. I guess we're catching it now, yeah. Cause it's just because we were at 6,000 still. Okay, yep, no, it's looking okay. Alright, here comes the turn. High pump's on. I'm going to stop yakking because I'm going to start talking to the FO now. Flap 5.
Flaps 5.
You gotta be kidding me, Edmonton just came online. 3575, how quickly can I set this here? Alright, first we just gotta set this up because we gotta do this intercept here. We're gonna do heading mode. We're gonna low glide slope. There we are. Okay, good. Edmonton Center, good morning. Encore 3126 with you on the ILS runway 12 Edmonton.
Encore 3126, Edmonton Center, good afternoon, squawk 5273.
That was 5272 for 3126. 5273 in the box for Encore 3126.
Encore 3126 identified descending through 4,600. Do you have the current weather for Edmonton?
Altitude checks, we do. We got Edmonton Insights, beautiful day out here.
Encore 3126, roger, and I assume you're doing the ILS for 02?
A firm, we're established on the ILS 12.
Encore 3126, roger, Edmonton winds 2.
Gear down.
Well, correction, Edmonton winds are calm, clear to land, runway 02.
Gear down.
Gear down.
Cleared to land, 12, correction, Encore 3126. Flap 15. Set taxi light to on.
Taxi light set to on.
Cleared to land. Landing checklist. Before landing check. Before landing checklist. Before landing checklist.
1,000 above.
Before landing checklist. I don't know why. Alright, something's not right here. He's not reading it to me. So landing gear's down 3 green. Condition levers are max. Aux standby. PT pumps are all on. Bleeds are min and on. FA notifications complete. And flap 15. Nope. That's why I was having a red line there. Flap 15. Again, he said it and I didn't. Before landing checklist. Okay, to hell with you, buddy. Autopilot disengage. Need a little bit more power. I don't know why I didn't read that one. That's the first time I really had a problem with him.
Light slope. 500.
Really? This guy's distracted me here. It's such a nice morning. Why am I having such a hard time flying this approach?
100 above.
Checked.
Minimums.
Landing.
Check.
Sink rate.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Encore 3126, welcome to Edmonton, vacate left 180 on SkyPark.
Alright, we're making the next left and we're going to park at gate 50, Encore 3126.
Encore 3126, taxi Alpha 1, Alpha, Oscar to the date,
Alpha 1, Alpha Oscar to the gate, Encore 3126, thank you. Alright, I just gotta pull up my taxi chart here real quick to make sure I know where I'm going. Okay, this is Alpha 1, the terminal's back there, so we're obviously making a left on Alpha, and then Oscar is the apron entry, a beam Alpha 4. Okay, I got it. I got it. And in 1 second, I don't know what happened to him and why he didn't want to read that before landing checklist, but he didn't. It's okay. Don't need that anymore. Okay, so now that we're clear of the runway, we'll kill those lights. And that can go back to red. And let me just see if I have to say anything specific or do anything else before I can tell him to do the after landing. Slowly getting used to these things here. The other thing I have to do is this. After landing checklist.
Okay.
See, he heard that one fine. I don't know why I didn't hear the other one. Did not want to do my before landing checklist. Oh, I see what the command was. It was flaps 15 before landing checklist. That's why he didn't do it. That's why he didn't. Okay, well I know for next time. Alright, welcome to Edmonton, everybody.
After landing checklist complete.
We even got some ATC. How nice is that? Alright, that's just the ice protection. Alright, so this is Alpha Echo. And then I believe the next one on the right will be the Oscar entry into the apron here. And I'm unfamiliar with Edmonton, so I'm going to have to look for the marshaller to show me where the gate is. Look for some ground equipment and a marshaller. I can pull up the chart, and I do have it going on the other screen here. But sometimes also gates change, and they don't always jive with the scenery. Alright, so this might only be Alpha Charlie here. Let's look at the signs as we come up to it here. That looks like it says Alpha Delta, in fact. Okay. This is Alpha Delta. Then next will be Alpha Charlie. Okay, so Oscar's a fair bit ahead still. I don't think I see the marshaller yet. So this is Alpha Charlie. Okay, I see Alpha Charlie. The next right turn in the apron will be Oscar. Good stuff, good stuff. Looks like the FO has done everything, except the flaps didn't come up because, again, reset to what I had. Almost enough to make me want to take the flap control off of my quadrant. Okay, I think I see the guys there. I see the baggage cart and everything. So I think I see where to go when we get on the apron here. Alright, I'm going to take this off of mute for a minute here while we give the FOs some commands for the shutdown. I think we're supposed to run those gates there, but I guess they're not marked properly, or not coordinated properly, so... There. Set taxi light to off. Set taxi light to off.
Taxi light set to off.
cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
Please connect external power.
Roger, connecting the GPU.
Parking checklist. Parking check. Parking checklist.
Captain, the GPU is now connected.
Yeah, he won't do it. Alright, I'll just read it myself. The parking checklist. Taxi light is off. Emergency brake, park. No steering, off. Standby PTU pumps, off. Condition levers, start feather. Transponder, standing by. Fasten seatbelt switch. That's one I forgot. Off. And bleeds are min and off. And there's, let's see here. He should have switched this over. Let's try the external power. There it is. External power is on. And condition levers. It's been 30 seconds. Fuel off. And lights. Don't need the low light anymore either. Lights are always required. Emergency lights are going to stay on. Standby aux. And battery master all off. Parking checklist is complete. Apparently he didn't want to listen to me. I'm not sure what the trigger is. I'll have to look into it again. Anywho. We are shut down and we are here. So we made it to Edmonton. Nicely done. Here comes the bridge. We're going to tell GSX to start our deboarding. Yeah, everything's shut down. Don't worry, buddy. Everything's shut down. And here comes the bridge. Oh. Why did the front door not open? That was the door I was trying to open. There it is. Alright, we're here. Let's just terminate that flight. It should have actually auto-terminated anyways. There it yeah, there it is. Edmonton, Kelowna. Kelowna, Edmonton, or whatever you want to say. It automatically terminated itself and knows what the next flight is automatically. That's a neat little feature to help you not forget to do this stuff in the sim while you're flying, and not forget to start and end this stuff. That's really really kind of helpful, because I've done that, and just you have a nice flight and then you don't do the sim for it. It just, you feel like an idiot at the end of the day. So there we go. So we got another flight under our belt. Another 2.16 experience points. It's not much, but we're slowly creeping across here. We're slowly creeping towards that 50 to be no longer a junior first officer and just a normal first officer. But anyways, there we go. So welcome to Edmonton, everybody. Again, SimAddons scenery. It's a beautiful scenery. It's a pity I'm all alone here, except for, of course, my ATC. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for providing the ATC. I am going to go and turn around and do the next flight in just a couple minutes. I'm just going to take a quick break here. While these guys get organized, I'm just going to go refresh my cup of coffee, and then I will come back and we'll do this flight to Calgary. So stick with me, guys, and I promise we'll be back in just a minute here.